What's up, guys? Beckstar here today, and I want to say in advance, well, let me adjust that. I did try to get the lighting to work better. I know it's suboptimal right now, but I tried what I could. I got both my lights on, I got both my blinds open, TV on. I guess this is as bright as it's gonna get. You know what? The dark scenery might give me a little bit of an edge to it anyway. But I am here today with the first round of the LD playoffs, and I'm going up here against Alex, my bad. First, I want to say that there are 2 weeks missing from my uploads, the last 2 weeks, and basically the reason for that is I hit a pretty bad cold streak. One of the worst, should I say, cold streaks that I have hit, and especially with one of the games being particularly long and stally, I kind of had difficulty working up the motivation to get the whole thing recorded and everything. But definitely not trying to hide the games, so if you guys want to see what happened in those 2 games, I will have replays in the description. You guys can enjoy a little bit of my suffering there. But anyway, I come in as the last seed in the playoffs at 5-5 plus 5, the triple fives, and I am looking to be the Rudy of the LD playoffs and take over from the bottom seed. And it starts here against Alex. So he's got himself a team consisting of Gliscor, Swampert, Bisharp, Ninetales, Alola, Kartana, and Keldeo. One of the interesting things I noticed about his team is 5 of his Pokemon that he did bring have a 4 times weakness. Gliscor with Ice, Swampert with Grass, Bisharp with Fighting, Ninetales with Steel, and Kartana with Fire. So that's an interesting little thing about the matchup I noticed. And I'm going to switch over here to my team. Get the right view going. And starting off here, I've got my Mega Blastoise. Physically defensive set allows me to better take hits from things like Keldeo and Bisharp, giving it some kind of defensive potential, which he had a lot of hazards on his team. Didn't look like he brought too many of them, but I did want to have the potential to get a rapid spin off if I needed to, and that's why the bulky variant. I'm actually running minus speed with Aqua Jet, and that's to help me revenge things like particularly Volcarona, which I was concerned with. Water Pulse over Scald, just because a lot of the things that I was going to be hitting with Scald, I wasn't really concerned about being able to burn. And Aura Sphere just kind of hit what Water Pulse didn't. Next up here, I've got Zygarde. I ran max speed, of course, all the way to max to help me speed tie Gliscor if I had to. But there was a few things that I wanted to be jolly for, including potentially a modest Volcarona and things like that. So I just kind of went all the way with it since I already did want to have quite a bit of speed on it. And I'm going to be running my D-Dance Dragonium set. Dragonium just helps it kind of break through his team, things like Gliscor in particular. And Iron Tail allows me to hit things like Cryogonal, which didn't come, and Alola Ninetales better, which of course is a priority for something weak to ice. And Thousand Arrows, because you know what, best move in the game, why not Thousand Arrows? Next up here, I've got my Choice Scarf Tapu Bulu, and Tapu Bulu, it just kind of had a promising matchup, I thought, on paper. There was the potential to spam Woodhammer if I got things like Volcarona, Kartana out of the way. And speaking of Kartana and Volcarona, I've got Rock Slide and Hidden Power Fire here. I'm jolly, and I've got enough speed to outpace a modest max speed Alakazam Mega, which didn't come. But even with jolly, this thing in Hidden Power Fire takes out Kartana. Sometimes it just baffles me, all the things that are able to take that Pokemon out with in Power Fire. Next up here, I've got the Grassy Seeds Hawlucha with Unburden. I'm running Adamant with a lot of speed. I want to be able to outspeed a +2 Volcarona to make sure that if the thing does get a setup, I am able to revenge it. Taunt allows me to beat variants of Gliscor, which may want to be a response to it. It also stops Swampert from being able to roar me out, so it just kind of helps this Pokemon stay in and break easier once I do set up. Next up here, I've got my Assault Vest Electros. Helps me deal with Keldeo a little bit, more so it's a switch into Volcarona, especially with Rock Slide on it. U-Turn just gives me that slow pivot where I don't have to predict things like Gliscor. Giga Drain hits Swampert, and it allows me to continue attacking the Gliscor as a roost. And Drain Punch covers things such as the Cryogonal and other stuff like that. Max Special Defense, of course, just to better answer Volcarona. And lastly here, I've got my Choice Scarf Sneasel. And Sneasel, this is one of my main things for his Mega Alakazam, which didn't come. I thought Scarf Sneasel had a promising matchup in this game, particularly if he brought the Mega Alakazam, which he didn't. I would have been able to outspeed the thing and kind of hit it with knockoff or pursuit. There's always that 50-50 that exists. Iron Tail allows me to hit the Ninetales. I did think that Sneasel would potentially be a lead, but the matchup with the team he brought didn't really dictate me leading off with Sneasel, so I didn't, but Iron Tail helped with a potential lead if he did lead off with his Ninetales, which he may well have. And Brick Break hits the Bisharp and of course breaks his Aurora Veil. So let's go back to the game here, get my right scene going. And as I mentioned, the matchup didn't really dictate lead Sneasel. Instead, I much preferred the lead Choice Scarf Bulu, which covered a lot of what he could have potentially led off with, even being able to KO the Ninetales with Wood Hammer. So that is what I am going to lead here. And he is going to lead off with his Kartana. So I've got an interesting situation here. My Hidden Power Fire, unless he's Occaberry or for some reason Assault Vest, my Hidden Power Fire does take him out. If he is Scarf, which he may be, it's a dirty roll about if Smart Strike can take me out, but I am more likely to survive it than not, and I am able to heal back up with Horn Leech against his team pretty comfortably if I do survive and take out the Kartana. So I think that my smartest play here is just to click the Hidden Power Fire and attack what's in front of me here, and that's what I'm going to do. And right off the bat, the Hidden Power Fire is going to take out the Kartana, and that is exactly the start I wanted. But do you guys want to see exactly the start I did not want? Here you go. Get ready to laugh, because I'm about to make one of the stupidest plays I've ever made. I am going to try to switch to my Electros here, but my fat big finger is going to push down on my keypad on not Electros, but the Pokemon beside Electros while I was dragging two Electros, and I'm going to, with my Grassy Train up, hard switch in my Hawlucha on the Alolan Ninetales. And there goes my seed and my only Unburden in this game. Hawlucha had a very nice matchup and the potential to sweep, but I'm going to squander that by misclicking the Hawlucha and throwing it out right away. So that was fun. Very fun. And of course I do not want my Hawlucha to stay in on the Ninetales, so I'm going to hard switch into Electros, which I wanted to originally. My Hawlucha is now without its item and its ability. But I do have my Eel, and finally I'm going to click Giga Drain because I thought he may well want to go into Swampert. Getting Chip on Ninetales is important. I want to get in range of Woodhammer after Veil and potentially Irontail after Veil. He will then go into Gliscor as I click Rock Slide, trying to weaken the Ninetales. And his Toxic Orb will activate. I'm going to go into my physically defensive Mega Blastoise here. He's going to Sword Stance, which is pretty threatening, but I do have the potential to try to get in range of my another attack from a different Pokemon. Potentially it would be nice to get the thing in range of Woodhammer, or just get in range of Dragonium through the Veil. And I'm just going to click my Water Pulse here. I'm physically defensive. I should be able to take his hit with a Plum. And he's going to go for an Earthquake. He's going to crit me, which will make that a 2-hit KO, which is unfortunate, but I feel like 100% I deserve that because of the Hawlucha play. So I can't be mad. I think I deserve that. But I do want to keep my Blastoise around, and I'm pretty sure he's going to click his Earthquake, so I'm going to go into my Hawlucha. And I know he's not going to be Acrobatics because of his Toxic Orb, so I'm just going to Sword Stance up. He's going to show to have Ice Fang, but Hawlucha will be able to survive that. He'll get his Poison Heal here, and I'm just going to go for my Acrobatics, make sure I get in range of everything. Sword Stance, of course, was also to stall out the last turn of his Veil to get that on the record. He's now weakened. I'm going to go on my Bulu here. That's pretty much going to tell him that I'm Scarf. So that cat's out of the bag. But I wasn't overly concerned about that because if he knows it, how does he stop it really? There's not too much he can do with that information. It still kind of puts him in a tricky position. He's going to decide to save the Gliscor and sack off the Swampert. My Bulu is going to take a lot of damage, but the Swampert will go down here. Bulu is of course looking very nice, especially with Kartana down. He goes into his Bisharp. I'm actually going to go into my Sneasel here. And my thought process here was that Sneasel is not the Pokemon that I'm most concerned with keeping around right now. A lot of what I wanted it for didn't come, so if he does attack me, which I don't think he would, it's okay. And if he Sword Stances up, I'm going to be able to take a Sucker Punch and be able to KO him with my Brick Break. So Sneasel kind of covers those spaces, as well as him potentially trying to make a double here. And he's going to go into his Gliscor, and what he doesn't know, but I know, is that I don't have an Ice move on my Sneasel. Sneasel was more focused on Alakazam, and Irontail kind of helped it have a solid lead matchup. And I didn't want to forfeit for an Ice move, but of course he's got to assume that I'm clicking Icicle Crash here, so I'm just going to stay in and click my Knockoff. And he is going to go out into his Keldeo. I was happy to knock that off. That tells me that the thing is not going to be Scarf, which means things are set up for Bulu later. Here, I'm just going to want to go into my Eelektross. He goes for his Hidden Power Poison. At least what I'm pretty sure is Hidden Power Poison. Eel's going to eat that. I'm just going to go for my Giga Drain here. I kind of wanted to feel him out a little bit. He's going to go for a Calm Mind. And I'm pretty sure he's not going to be Substitute, but if he is at +1, he shouldn't be able to KO my Zygarde, and Zygarde would be able to break its sub. So I'm just going to click my U-turn with the Eelektross and try to, if he does sub up, which I don't necessarily think he may be, considering what he's shown so far, I feel like his last two moves would be potentially the Dual Stab, but he could be with the Water move and the Poison. Anyway, I'm just going to U-turn here, either into Zygarde or Bulu, depending on what he clicks. He clicks the Hidden Power Poison, not a Substitute, so I'm able to go into my Bulu here. And who drops? He does not have a great Horn Leech in here, so I'm just going to click my Horn Leech. Keldeo is going to go down. Bulu's going to get back up to full health. There's one threat out of the way. Brings in his Bisharp. Of course, I'm saving my Bulu. I'm going to go into Sneasel again. And he's going to make a double again into Alolan Ninetales. Again, I had the same thought process with my Sneasel. At this point, I'm just trying to play overly safe. What doesn't let him set up. That's my main focus. With him going Ninetales, I'm just going to try and click my Iron Tail and get this thing taken out. World's most inaccurate move. Can it land? And it does. Most Pokemon players will tell you that that move doesn't land as much as Horn Drill, but it lands there, which is nice for me. The Gliscor comes in. I'm going to bring in my Zygarde, just not letting this thing set up for free. I'm going to go here right for my Dragonium Z. If he is max speed, it could potentially be a speed tie. Not sure if he would be, but I am going first, and that thing is going down. And now the last major fear I had around, which was the Gliscor. You know what, I should talk a little bit about what I would do if it was max speed and it did win a speed tie. It would have been, what, around 60%? I would have had to bring in my Tapu Bulu, and I would have had to click Wood Hammer, and I would have had to try to get the thing in range of Sneasel. If it did survive the Wood Hammer, which if it was max speed, I'm not very sure that it would. But anyway, we are able to take that thing out. Bisharp's going to come in on Zygarde. I'm just going to click my arrows, and he is going to show the Rock Polish. So he brought up quite a few threats here, and that was interesting thing about the matchup. But he's going to go for his Iron Head here, and we are unflinching. We're able to attack through it and take the Bisharp down, and we are going to advance into the semi-final round. Right? Yeah, the semi-final round of the playoffs. And next up, we're going to go against Jeremy. Actually, to get into the playoffs on that last spot, we needed Jeremy to beat Lomain, and he came through for us, and now we've got to thank him in the German way, which is a kick to the nuts. I love my boy, but we got to go for the W. We're trying to be the Rudy of this tournament, or the playoffs. So that's going to be it for this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good night.